Coming up, Fruition Experience. Shades of delight, cocoa hue. Rich as the night, afro blue. Lovers are face to face, undulating grace. Gently sway and slip away to some secluded place. Shades of delight. Cocoa hue, rich as the night, afro. Of the land my soul is from. I hear a hand strong on a drum. Of delight, cocoa hue, rich as the night, afro.
What? So the name of the band is called the Fruition Experience, and it's a melding of neo-soul, hip-hop, and jazz. Everybody in the band is experienced with many forms of popular music, jazz, funk, R&B, neo-soul, hip-hop, gospel, even classical. So the band is about putting those elements together to come up with our own unique brand. And like you said, everybody is really talented in their own right. That's why I chose this group of people. The name of the band, the Fruition Experience, is a name that came about really in about 2006 when I named my company name, because the name of the company is called Fruition Music Incorporated. So when it came to putting together a band, there's no other name that I think fits other than Fruition Experience. At first, the name of the group was called Jazz Group Fruition, and the whole idea is, fruition is to bring something to existence. And so what I feel like is through the music, we bring love and peace to fruition. We bring good vibes and good energy. Plus, I feel like we bring great music to fruition. And so because of the multiple genres that we have involved and the different places that we go musically, you couldn't really tie it down to one idea or one genre. So it just became the Fruition Experience. It's just an experience that spans the range of different types of experiences.
What makes
The genre really boils down to neo-soul, hip-hop, and jazz. It's kind of hard for us to just use one label because although we are jazz musicians, we also have deep hip-hop roots. I was a hip-hop MC for the first 7 years of my musical life. So exactly, that's how I got into music. So there's the hip-hop influence that you can hear through the vocals as well as through the music. And then we're also into neo-soul really heavily. I don't like to be boxed in as far as genre, although it is important to be identifiable. But when people think jazz, they very seldom think the type of hip-hop that we import into the music, as well as, we have sultry vocals, So the genre is neo-soul, hip-hop, and jazz, and I really wanted to come up with a new name for it, but I just left it alone. I don't want to be corny. Now that's what it boils down to, neo-soul, hip-hop, and jazz.
Rich as the night arrow.
Well, the way I got into the keyboard was being a hip-hop producer. We had drum machines and samplers. Every now and then we would be in the studio where there would be a keyboard that was also in the midst of those pieces of equipment, because producers use keyboards to trigger sounds and to put sounds into their music. So out of all the instruments, that was the one I was most familiar with because I was around it the most. I didn't know how to play, but I at least knew the layout of the keyboard. So I knew I had to take up an instrument in order to learn. What happened was I decided that if I could make my hip-hop tracks as well as I could with no music theory, what would happen if I learned music? So I said, okay, in order to learn music theory, you should probably choose an instrument. You probably will have to. And so the piano was the most comfortable. It was the most logical as far as picking up an instrument. And so when I picked up the piano, I was already in church, and I was sitting behind the music section in church. And so I started hearing certain things, bass lines, rhythms, certain things that we used in hip hop, so I could identify it. So it opened up my eyes to that, and it actually piqued my curiosity. So at that point, I decided to not only play piano to make my music better, but I started getting into gospel music, and that's what determined my choice as far as choosing the keyboard. It was the best choice I could have made too, because it's the most universal instrument, and I'm able to learn and understand all other instruments, via the keyboard. No musical training, no musical background prior to that at all, besides, like I said, just, fooling around in hip hop, but we were serious about it, but I had no other training. So at 19 going on 20 is when I started playing the piano, and I actually found a mentor who taught me theory and applied it to gospel, and he actually is the foundation. His name is Dr. Maurice Johnson. He's the foundation of my understanding of music and my learning. So it hasn't been that long. I didn't start until 19 or 20, and at that point I just double timed it. I was spending several hours a day focusing. Now the best part that helped me was that I taught myself how to read music before I started playing the piano and learning by ear. That was the most helpful thing, because it allowed me access to music that other musicians may not have because they just didn't understand how to read. I could read, so I was able to double time. I could use my ear and reading together, and it helped me to learn music a lot faster.
What advice would you give a young musician?
Right. The best advice that I could give would be, first of all, to listen as much as possible to whatever type of music you want to do. Listen to the type of music that you're really into and that you want to duplicate, and then also listen to the other music outside of that's related to that music. The reason why is because every professional musician knows that a lot of your learning comes from actually listening. There's some things you can't teach. It just comes via osmosis. It comes from listening and submerging yourself in the music. I'll give you an example. Hip hop. Hip hop is a very hard thing to teach. It's a feeling. It's a feel that you have. So my advice would be first to listen as much as possible. Sing the songs, sing the rhythm, sing the bass line, just submerge yourself in the music. The second thing would be to balance learning music by ear and playing from your heart with no rules, along with a strategic method of learning how to read and learning theory. Don't give one precedence over the other, do them both simultaneously. And the reason why I say that is because if you look at people that are trained classically, a lot of times they are able to read really well and understand the music on the paper really well, but they aren't able to think for themselves or play from their hearts really well. And then vice versa. You could take a person who plays by ear and they're extremely good playing by ear, but if you put them in front of an orchestra or you put them with a jazz ensemble and you need them to read a chart, everything that they can do is gone out of the window. So the most important advice would be to listen as much as possible to the music that you are trying to emulate, as well as the other music related to it, and find a way to balance both playing from your heart with no rules and a method where you have rules and you learn music theory. That to me is the way.